Welcome to Global Focus Review channel. Asia is a fascinating continent full of civilizations and peoples with ancient and rich histories. Among these many cultures, the people of the Philippines stand out with their diversity and unique heritage. But have you ever wondered if there is any biblical mention of the origins of these people? Does the Bible talk about the origin of Filipinos? In this video, we will delve into the potential links between the Philippines people and biblical narratives, revealing intriguing aspects and enigmas that tie this nation to the scriptures. This particular video has been highly requested within our series that investigates the ancestral roots of various groups as depicted in the Bible. Remember to show your support by liking, sharing with friends, and subscribing to our channel. Join us for the next installment of our series titled Exploring Ancestral Origins Through Biblical Narratives. The Philippines, formerly referred to as the Republic of the Philippines, is a nation comprising an archipelago situated in Southeast Asia within the Western Pacific Ocean. It consists of 7,641 islands covering a total land area of 300,000 square kilometers. These islands are typically categorized into three primary geographical zones from north to south: Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Geographically, the Philippines shares borders with the South China Sea to the west, the Philippine Sea to the east, and the Celebes Sea to the south. Moreover, it has maritime boundaries with Taiwan to the north, Japan to the northeast, Palau to the east and southeast, Indonesia to the south, Malaysia to the southwest, Vietnam to the west, and China to the northwest. Boasting a diverse population with various ethnic backgrounds and cultures, the Philippines ranks as the 12th most populous country globally. Manila serves as the capital city, with Quezon City being the most densely populated urban center, both situated within the Greater Manila metropolitan area. The initial inhabitants of the Philippines were the Negritos, succeeded by successive waves of Austronesian groups. Within these early communities there exist descendants of Ham, who was Noah's son, according to biblical accounts, found among certain tribes. The introduction and spread of animism, Hinduism intertwined with Buddhist practices, and Islam played pivotal roles in the formation of island realms governed by datas, rajas, and sultans. Extensive trade relations with empires, like the later Tang and Song dynasties, facilitated the influx of Chinese migrants, who progressively integrated into the local populace over centuries. The arrival of Ferdinand Magellan, a Portuguese explorer who led an expedition on behalf of Castile, signaled the onset of Spanish colonization in the Philippines. In 1543, another Spanish explorer, Ruy López de Villalobos, christened the archipelago Las Islas Filipinas, in tribute to King Philip II of Castile. The formal process of colonization under Spanish rule began in 1565 through New Spain, bringing the Philippines under the dominion of the Crown of Castile, thereby integrating it into the Spanish Empire for over 3 centuries. Throughout this era, Catholicism emerged as the dominant religion, and Manila developed into a major hub for trans-Pacific trade in the western region. The Philippine Revolution ignited in 1896, aligning closely with the Spanish-American War of 1898. Following Spain's defeat in the war, control of the Philippines was transferred to the United States, and Filipino revolutionaries declared the establishment of the First Philippine Republic. However, the ensuing Philippine-American War resulted in the United States securing control over the islands, a situation that persisted until the Japanese occupation during World War II. The nation then underwent a turbulent period marked by democratic movements, including the peaceful overthrow of a dictatorship that had lasted for decades. Regarding the etymology of the name Philippines, it originated from the 1542 expedition of Spanish explorer Ruy López de Villalobos, who named the islands of Leyte and Samar as Filipinas in honor of the Prince of Asturias, later known as Philip II of Castile. Over time, the name Las Islas Filipinas came to represent the Spanish territories in the archipelago. Prior to this, the Spanish referred to the islands by other names, including Islas del Poniente Western Islands, Islas del Oriente Eastern Islands, and San Lazaro Islands of St. Lazarus, the latter name given by Ferdinand Magellan. During the Philippine Revolution, the Malolos Congress declared the nation's name as the Republic of the Philippines. American colonial authorities, translating the Spanish name, referred to the nation as the Philippine Islands. With the implementation of the Philippine Autonomy Act and the Jones Act, the United States began to adopt the name Philippines. The official title Republic of the Philippines was formally enshrined in the 1935 Constitution as the name of the future independent state, a designation that has been preserved in all subsequent constitutional revisions. The diversity of ethnicities in the Philippines is striking, shaped by a combination of external influences and the intricate layout of the archipelago. As per the 2020 census data, the major ethnic groups in the nation include the Tagalog community 26%, Bisaya excluding Cebuano, Hiligaynon and Waray at 14.3%, Ilocano and Cebuano both at 8%, Hiligaynon at 7.9%, Bicol at 6.5%, and Waray at 3.8%. Moreover, the Philippines is home to 110 distinct indigenous ethno-linguistic groups, constituting 15.56% of the population as of 2020. Within these indigenous communities are the Igorot, Lumad, Mangyan, and the native peoples of Palawan. The Negritos, among the earliest settlers of the Philippines, are an aboriginal minority group of Australoid heritage, representing a trace of the initial human migrations from Africa to Australia before subsequent displacements occurred due to later waves of migration. Ethnic Filipinos belong to various Southeast Asian ethnic clusters identified linguistically as Austronesians, speaking Malayo-Polynesian languages. The precise origins of the Austronesian populace remain ambiguous, but it is theorized that individuals related to the Taiwanese Aborigines introduced their languages and intermingled with local communities. The Lumad and Sama ethnic groups exhibit ancestral connections with Austroasiatic-speaking populations like the Khmer and Mon from mainland Southeast Asia. Furthermore, indications point towards a migration from eastern Indonesia and Papua New Guinea into Mindanao, evidenced by groups such as the Bajau and the presence of the Sangir language. Immigrants migrated to the Philippines from various regions of the Spanish Empire, particularly from Spanish America. According to a 2016 National Geographic study, the genetic makeup of the Philippine archipelago's inhabitants comprises the following proportions: 53% Southeast Asian and Oceania, 36% East Asian, 5% Southern European, 3% South Asian, and 2% South Asian, and 2% Native American from Latin America. Offspring of mixed ancestry are commonly referred to as mestizos or tisoy. Throughout the Spanish colonial epoch, these mestizos were predominantly a blend of Chinese mestizos, mestizos de sangre, Spanish mestizos, mestizos de español, and their combinations tornatras. Presently, Chinese Filipinos have assimilated well into Filipino society, with the majority tracing their roots back to immigrants from Fujian in the early 20th century. Amid the American colonial period, it was approximated that there were around 1.35 million pure ethnic Chinese inhabitants in the Philippines, while roughly 22.8 million Filipinos, accounting for about 20% of the population, possessed some degree of Chinese lineage stemming from pre-colonial, colonial or 20th century settlers. Throughout the Spanish colonial era, Mestizo Filipinos constituted a substantial segment of the tax-paying populace, approximately 5%. Conversely, Mexican Filipinos represented a smaller fraction, approximately 2.33333% of the population. As of 2023, close to 300,000 American nationals resided in the nation, with an estimated 250,000 Amerasians, progeny of American and Filipino unions, inhabiting locales like Angeles, Manila, and Olongapo. Noteworthy non-indigenous minorities also encompass Indians and Arabs. Japanese Filipinos, on the other hand, encompass descendants of Christian refugees Karishitan, who sought refuge from persecution under Shogun Tokugawa Ieyasu. Filipino and English serve as the official languages of the Philippines. Filipino, a standardized variant of Tagalog, is predominantly spoken in the Manila metropolitan region. Both Filipino and English are utilized in governmental affairs, education, printed and broadcast media, and business, often alongside a third local dialect. The practice of code switching between English and other regional languages, notably Tagalog, is widespread. The Philippine Constitution permits the elective instruction of Spanish and Arabic. Although the prevalence of Spanish, once a lingua franca in the late 19th century, has waned, numerous Spanish loanwords continue to permeate Philippine languages. The ancestral roots of the Filipino population can be linked back to the descendants of Japheth, one of Noah's offspring. Specifically, the lineage in question traces back to Tarshish, the son of Javan, who is in turn the son of Japheth. Tarshish is recognized as the forefather of the Filipino populace, alongside various Asian and native communities in the Americas and Siberia. Furthermore, Filipinos hold a historical tie to Ham, another of Noah's sons, or more precisely to a lineage stemming from Ham, traditionally associated with individuals of darker complexion. This association with Tarshish is not solely a genetic inheritance, but is also reflected in the physical attributes of Filipinos, including almond-shaped eyes and dark, straight hair. These traits indicate an Asian heritage, aligning with their descent from Tarshish. It is important to acknowledge that while Tarshish is identified as a prominent ancestor of the Filipino people, they are not exclusively descended from him, suggesting a diverse lineage that warrants further exploration. The Filipino ancestry extends beyond Tarshish, the son of Javan and grandson of Japheth. The light brown or tawny skin tone of Filipinos also hints at an influence from the lineages descending from Ham, associated with Hamitic communities. The blending of genetics between the descendants of Tarshish, characterized by features like almond-shaped eyes and lighter skin, and the Hamitic lineages, known for characteristics linked to darker skin tones, has contributed to the varied appearances observed within the Filipino population. This fusion has given rise to the common brown or tawny complexion seen among many Filipinos. Furthermore, the name Tarshish is etymologically linked to meanings such as broken or pulled, which correspond to the almond-shaped eyes characteristic of Tarshish and his descendants. The second ancestral progenitor of the Filipino peoples is undeniably Ham. The brown and tan skin tones seen in many Filipinos are indicative of Hamitic influence, which has become an integral part of the Filipino genetic makeup. Consequently, the Filipino peoples are the product of a fusion between the lineages of Ham and Japheth, specifically those of Tarshish and a Hamitic tribe. This blending of genetic heritage accounts for the prevalent brown and lighter skin tones among Filipinos. To summarize, the ancestry of Filipinos can be traced to Japheth through Tarshish, and also to Ham, represented by one of the Hamitic tribes. An examination of Genesis 10 reveals how these lineages played a role in shaping the Filipino peoples. I hope you enjoyed the video about the biblical origin of the Filipino peoples. Please show your support by liking and sharing the video, enabling others to view it, and subscribing to the channel. We'll be back soon with more content.